Crazy artists are no rare thing. Many artists throughout history have been loopy. Leonardo da Vinci was in a Ubisoft game. Picasso liked French girls. And the mustache man, well, we know what he did. And then there's Vincent Gallo, a painter, writer, actor, director, musician, you name it, this fucker has done it. But not without controversy. An artist who, from what I know, is very rarely talked about in our age, especially in an age where I feel like interesting characters are often talked about the most. Yet I see very rare few for Gallo, despite his very bold takes on a lot of societal and political issues, like his comments on women, people of color, and gay people. And I will get into that later in this video. So let's talk a little bit about Gallo's backstory. Gallo was born in Buffalo, New York, and naturally was destined to be an angry man, because what else is there to do in fucking Buffalo besides be mad and watch the Buffalo Bills miss another Super Bowl? Even Gallo says it himself. That's why I make movies. I'm from Buffalo. There's no money. Also describing Buffalo as,
the weather sucks, the people suck, they're all fat, they're small time.
Do you know, I thought it was going to be like, it's a real special place.
Gallo from an early age was already an interesting character. He grew up loving hip-hop and hip-hop culture, going to dance parties when he was a kid, and even trying to make rap music under the name Prince Vince. He also states that from a young age, he wanted to stylize himself as a very stereotypical conservative man to get away from his artsy ways. Keep this in mind as I continue to talk about this man. Gallo grew up in a very dysfunctional home. At the age of 5, him and his siblings were sitting down in the living room. His mother was vacuuming up the carpet and found a small piece of chocolate that was stuck to the carpet. She became upset, and so did their father, so much so that he asked them who had put the chocolate there. All 3 siblings, including Gallo, denied doing it. Yet his father put blame on Vincent and started beating him, eventually stopping only to pull him into the car and driving him to the entrance of a psychiatric hospital, and threatening him to confess to putting the chocolate there or he would put him in the hospital because, quote, he was the evil devil and that he was going to live with crazy people for the rest of his life if he didn't confess to what he had done. Vincent continued denying it as he knew he hadn't done it. His father pulled him out of the car and dragged him to the entrance. Only then did Vincent say he did it. Vincent later said in an interview that at this moment his father knew that Vincent hadn't really done it. So yes, his household wasn't a very stable or loving one. And like I said, he's from fucking Buffalo. Boredom comes easy in Buffalo, so much so that he had nothing better to do than pleasure himself up to 12 times a day in his youth. When Gallo was 12, he was riding his bike late around the city, going up to office buildings where ladies were working late and exposing himself to them. He was naturally arrested for this and was later beaten by his father for 9 days. His father left for 2 weeks because he was so embarrassed by Vincent. He later came back and beat him for another 6 days. His father told Vincent that, quote, he was never allowed to be happy again and that he had ruined the family. Vincent later says that his father became very nice later in his older age and, quote, I liked my dad better when he was an evil bastard. Another thing that happened to Gallo when he was 12 was his mother on his birthday told him, quote, what a beautiful baby you were, but look at you now. Gallo told his parents over and over that once he turned 16, he would move out and live on his own. On his 16th birthday, his father knocked on his door in the early morning and told him to get the fuck out since he thought himself such a big shot. Gallo did just that, packing his bags up and moving in with his girlfriend at the time till he made a sign to hitchhike to New York City. Gallo said he was feeling good for a month away from his family, that he felt like a person for the first time in his life. Once in New York, Gallo would bounce around. It was the late 70s and early 80s. He would work small-time jobs like being a mechanic, a day laborer, and other street-level work. He would also become involved in the punk and no-wave scene. The no-wave scene being a very avant-garde music and visual art scene that mixed many genres together, including funk, disco, and punk, and mixed those with a more nihilistic outlook on life. Naturally, being involved in these scenes led to Gallo becoming friends and having connections with people in the artsy side of the early 80s New York scene. Before picking up any other art, Gallo would begin to make music. He founded many groups, including the no-wave band Grey with Jean-Michel Basquiat, who in his own right is a famous artist. He also founded other experimental groups, including a rap duo, Trouble Deuce, and a one-man band called the Non-Sexuals, and another band named Bohack, which made industrial noise music, primarily releasing the album It Took Several Wives. In the mid to late 80s, while still making music, he started modeling alongside painting and doing street-level performances. By this point, Gallo was a real established name in the New York art scene. He made his first notable appearance in a film titled Downtown 81, which was filmed around 1980 to 1981. In the 1985 film, The Way It Is, he slowly got more roles, such as 1985's The Equalizer and 1990's Goodfellas. One thing that is common when reading about Gallo or hearing others talk about Gallo or even Gallo himself saying is the fact that he craves and wants total control over almost every aspect of his own life, and that includes his artistic expressions, whether it's music, paintings, or films. Keep that in mind. In 1998, Gallo released his most known film, one he wrote, edited, composed, produced, directed, and acted in, Buffalo 66, a film that is a loose fictionalized version of Gallo's own life, especially when it comes to the main character's relationship with his parents. Another aspect of the film is the controversies. Like much of Gallo's art through his career, there are controversies behind the project. For one, Gallo does love the film and describes it as his masterpiece, but his hatred for Angelica Houston, who played his character's mother in the film, is very well known. He hated her because of her supposed ego on set and the fact that she was expensive, saying that she ate up half of the budget just because of her casting. Another cast member who was very controversial is that of Christina Ricci, who you might know best from her role in the Addams Family movies, where she played Wednesday when she was a child. Funnily enough, Angelica Houston played Morticia, Wednesday's mother, in the same films. Why Ricci's casting was so controversial and her role so controversial was because, well, at the time of filming, Ricci was 17 and Gallo was much older. In the film, Gallo's character kidnaps Ricci's character and forces her to pretend she's his wife, while he goes to visit his parents. Her character is a very childish one and also creepily written. The character, as the film progresses, goes from naturally being disgusted and fearful of just being kidnapped to falling in love and being compliant to Gallo's character. Ricci later went on to describe the experience as challenging, chaotic, and difficult to work with Gallo. She called him a raving lunatic. She says that Gallo would go from being kind to suddenly yelling at her and be very controlling, keeping her separated from her mother, even controlling what she ate and how much she ate, only allowing her to eat one pizza slice a day. But she also says that she recognized that she viewed it as an important step in her career, and says despite Gallo being crazy, she had fun while making the film and was appreciative of the final product. So how was the film received? Many liked it, even loving it, calling it a masterpiece, and Buffalo 66 to this day is a film I often see getting recommended to people as a great film and one of the best ever made. Though there are a lot of people who view it as a very self-indulgent film and misogynistic, calling Ricci's character as only serving to fulfill a male fantasy. Despite the controversy, the film was more well received than anything else, becoming a cult classic and Gallo's masterpiece. Then there's the other film, the one not so many people talk about, but when they do, it's often in a negative light. And that's the film The Brown Bunny, a film about Gallo's love for motorcycles. It follows Bud Clay, a motorcycle racer, as he drifts around America after the loss of his one true love, Daisy Lemon, played by Chloe Sevigny, an artist in her own right who you might know as Patrick Bateman's assistant, Jane, in American Psycho. The film is very slow-paced and often quiet. It's filled with scenes of Gallo driving around America with nothing but the hum of his car and the sounds of nature around him. Many would have labeled this film as boring or uninteresting if it wasn't for one scene, the one scene that ruined Gallo's whole career in Hollywood. It's a scene in which Chloe's character gives Gallo's character a blowjob. Now this wouldn't be so controversial if it wasn't for the fact that the blowjob was a real one. It wasn't a simulated one. Naturally, it was controversial. Gallo was the writer, producer, composer, director, and actor in the film. Many saw it as Gallo using his roles to get Chloe to give him a job for a movie scene. The action was a consensual one, and Gallo said that it was supposed to be emotionally devastating and not erotic. Chloe would later say that the scene affected her career, but also defended it as artistically intentional and necessary. When the film premiered at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival in 2003, it was an unfinished cut of the film, but was met with immediate boos and walkouts. Many critics heavily bashed the film. Roger Ebert notably called it the worst film in the history of Cannes. Gallo did himself no real favors after the reviews came out. He would go on talk shows and radio shows to voice his frustration with the reviews, something he was known to do prior, but even more so now. He wouldn't shy about the fact that he thought his film was only getting negative reviews and feedback because it wasn't a left-wing film and it didn't have a gay main character. He said that Hollywood only gave good reviews if your film had a gay character in it. Gallo, being a very conservative right-wing man, would often voice his frustration with liberals and social norms that the liberals would try to push throughout his whole career. But even more so after this film. After the heat died down for The Brown Bunny, Gallo would kind of cave in and agree that making The Brown Bunny was the worst decision he ever made. He said it ruined his life, it ruined any opportunities of a relationship with a woman. It took years off his life. So what is Gallo up to these days? Well, Gallo mostly only draws and makes music these days. He sometimes models and shows up in smaller acting roles, but overall he isn't really public with his life. But before we finish this video, how could I possibly make a video on Vincent Gallo without addressing and talking about his website? In 1998, Gallo launched his website, vincentgallo.com, a website that upon clicking on it, you have links for his acting, directorial, musical, artwork, writing, and photography works, a little biography, links to his Instagram account, a link that leads to other links like his merchandise and other social media accounts, a link titled Intergalactic Sound, and pictures that upon clicking it only says coming soon, a link to contact him, a link titled Class Fields in which Gallo names stuff he is after, such as guitars, microphones, and other audio equipment, and the main thing we will be looking at, the merchandise link. Upon clicking into his merchandise link, it looks fairly normal, with a nice photo of Gallo gripping his little Gallo. But oh wait, what's this link? Personal services? Let's click that one. And here we are, the main seller, baby. For the small price of $50,000, you can hook up with Vincent Gallo. And here's the description now. Wish, dream, or fantasy with Vincent Gallo. Ladies only. Have you ever watched a movie and fallen in love with one of the actors, the way they looked, or a character they played? Afterwards, you thought only of them over and over, daydreaming, imagining things. When I was very young, I was madly in love with Tuesday Weld and Charlotte Rampling. On my 14th birthday, I went to see the film Rolling Thunder and had my biggest crush of all actresses, Linda Haynes. I wished and wished and wished every day that I could meet all these girls. I thought of a lot of sexy things with Susan Blakely after seeing her in Lords of Flatbush. In my mind, I could do with her anything I wanted to do. So believe me, I know and understand what it's like to wish and dream about spending time with a movie star, doing things that couples do, couples in love. At least couples where the guy is hot and knows how to handle a chick. I, Vincent Gallo, star of such classics as Buffalo 66 and The Brown Bunny, have decided to make myself available to all women who can afford me. That is, for the modest fee of $50,000 plus expenses. I can fulfill the wish, dream, or fantasy of any naturally born female. The fee covers one evening with Vincent Gallo for those who wish to enjoy my company for a weekend. The fee is increased to a mere $100,000. Heavy-set, older, redheads, and even black chicks can have me if they can pay the bill. You hear that, black ladies? You only have to pay $50,000 more to get with Vincent Gallo. Same thing with you, redheads and older women and bigger women. No real female will be refused. However, I highly frown upon any male having even the slightest momentary thought or wish that they could ever become my client. No way, Jose. However, female couples of the lesbian persuasion can enjoy a Vincent Gallo evening together. For $100,000 or $200,000 buys the lesbos a weekend that will have them second guessing. Woo-wee! You hear that, lesbians? You can have Vincent Gallo too. And males, I'm sorry. I know you guys were very thirsty for this option, but Vincent Gallo don't roll that way, baby. I am willing to travel worldwide to accommodate clients. However, travel days are billed at $50,000 per, and the rest of this is just kind of extra things. He just basically describes, extra fees and whatnot. And if you thought the $50,000 escort service wasn't enough for you greedy little people who can't get enough of Gallo, well, guess what? You can buy his fucking splooge. That's right, his baby batter is up for sale. His baby gravy for the small price of $1 million. Issues arise with this one though, as sorry black ladies or brown ladies who are fans of Gallo and really wanted this, but Gallo doesn't allow black ladies or brown ladies to buy his sperm, as he doesn't want to participate in, quote, that type of integration. Oh, but don't think that means you ladies of lighter complexions can get Gallo's spunk without him getting a photograph of you first, and he can reject you based off your looks. But Mr. Gallo does offer a discount to those ladies who are blonde and blue-eyed. You lucky ladies get $50,000 knocked off the original $1 million, and also to ladies who can prove direct familial links to German soldiers of the mid-century. But that doesn't mean that Mr. Gallo won't sell his luxurious seed to Jewish ladies, as he would, because this, quote, might increase the child's odds of making films with great reviews and to win prizes at Sundance Film Festival and potentially an Oscar. At least the man is honest about his beliefs, I suppose. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to end this video on. A more sillier and funny part of Gallo's life. Overall, Gallo is a figure that is going to get really only two reactions. You love or you hate the man. Now, I never really voiced my opinion on the man throughout this video, but I will now, I suppose. I do come from a left-wing point of view. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really like his takes and opinions on pretty much anything. His films and art is good in my opinion, though. Besides The Brown Bunny, I don't care. That's a boring-ass film that I can't recommend. And the man can dress. I'll give him that. That he's got style. And the one thing he does mention is important to his art is his aesthetic. And I'll give him that too. He has a nice artistic aesthetic to his work. I appreciate the view, and the sub and a like wouldn't hurt. This isn't a definitive breakdown on the man's life, so if you have any info or facts I might have left out, you can comment that down below. I'll leave you with this video of Gallo being self-aware, as I find it a bit funny. Shout out to Benjamin Stefan for the original clip. Again, take care, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
It was hard to make the film like this without support, but I felt at least like I got it the way that I wanted it. I'm very comfortable being in control. I mean, I can take the pressure of the responsibility and the decisions and having to show up in that way every day. But it really would be nice to have legitimate support in the future, or also to try not to micromanage the support that I am getting, to really let people do their job. If I make another film, which I doubt, anyway, I'm old, I'll be dead any day now, but if I make another film ever by some fluke, I'm tricked into it again, I would make it in a way. There's that girl that I was saying that was telling me there's no one home. If I did do it, I would only do it with a different production. It wouldn't be about a lonely character. It wouldn't be a road film. It wouldn't be shot in such a modest way. I would try to do... Well, I wouldn't do something simply to do it differently, but I don't think I would be drawn to subject matter that would require me to approach it in the same way again. But who knows? I don't know. It'd be interesting to try to do something with real support. And with more characters, or certainly to try to make a film where I don't appear in it also would be interesting. In any case, I'm old, and the next time you see me, I could be dead. So let's hope I don't make another movie. Let's hope for me and for you. I wonder what exactly do I get out of making these films? I mean, I don't make any money. I did give up 3 years of my life on each one. I make a lot of enemies because I'm bossy and pushy and crotchety, and I get old and crabby, and my back and my neck and everything hurts now, and I didn't go on any dates, and I didn't... What do I get? This weird satisfaction that I was able to put something in the world that now exists that, that most people don't like anyway. I mean, I don't know. This is like a sick in the head move. But at the time, it seemed like the most important thing, And it has nothing to do with narcissism. I mean, a narcissist only identifies with a winner. The films that I make are not about winners, and the characters I play are not about winners, and it has nothing to do with me. It's not all my work is the same. The photographs, the paintings, music, everything, interior design, architecture, it's all about aesthetic, sensibility, and metaphor, and it has nothing to do with me personally. This is not a glorification of me. It's the preservation of insight into relationships, characters, personalities, insight into culture, politics, sensibility, relationships. It's about aesthetic. It's things having nothing to do with me. I'm just a custodian. I'm just the idiot who spends his whole miserable life trying to represent these insights. I may have a big ego in thinking that I'm smart enough to know what needs to be preserved, or that I'm smart enough to have these insights, but it has nothing to do with my self-glorification. I only appear in these films not because I feel like I'm so aesthetically pleasing, but I can manipulate the film in a certain way when I'm multitasking, and performing is one of the multitasks. But basically my whole life has been I've been a custodian of these things. I mean, like, I'm the guy who polishes the brass railing in front of a nice building, and I take it so fucking seriously. Like, God forbid the brass railing should have a tarnish on it, because somehow it would reflect poorly on the world, and I would be blamed for this poor reflection on the world. And, in the end, I'm 42 years old. I'm an old, broken down man. And what did I do? I did some stupid movies. I mean, Jesus, I could have had a friend or a relationship or a kid or something. I'm so stupid. But at the time, it just seems like that's the most important thing. So that's, I'm hoping that I don't get that feeling again.
I would.
There's Chloe. She looks pretty.